Welcome to the Big Boy Experience, my chase of Big Boy and how horrible it was. I would strongly advise anybody to not chase Big Boy. There's too many other people, too many crazy people on the road, and I don't mean people driving fast. No, I mean people that are sitting in the middle of the road, not doing anything, and blocking traffic and taking forever to go any place and just driving 20 miles per hour in a 55 for no reason. That type of stuff. Now, I started my chase in Attica with a drone footage. Actually, what you're going to see is a screen recording of the drone footage because I was trying to record audio in the drone footage, and I was doing it by a screen recording because I was told that you screen record and then the DJI Fly app takes the audio from the screen recording and puts it on the footage. No, it doesn't do that. That's not true. And I don't know why the instructions said that. It actually has a built-in microphone that you need to go in and do settings in it, which it didn't come up with the settings initially. So I don't know why it said one way when it's actually the other, but that's what happens. So you're going to see me screen recording. You're going to see how high it was. You're also going to hear me occasionally talking about a drone that is flying around erratically. Little snippets of me talking over because I was trying to figure out where this guy with his drone was. It was flying it around low, way too low, flying it really close to people, just flying it erratically and very hazardously, and making me nervous for my drone's safety, my safety, the people around safety. He wasn't even looking where his drone was. He was just looking through. He had goggles on to look through the camera angle of the drone. He wasn't looking at where the drone is, which you're supposed to be looking at where the drone is. That's FAA regulations and it's New York State law. He was just completely behaving improperly with his drone. So I was worried about that and trying to get the footage, so it's not that great for drone footage. And then we have 2 not very good videos, and then we'll have 3 that are better. Unfortunately, I only got it 6 times. And a chase from Attica to Waverly. That's how bad traffic was. I would advise anybody to not chase the Big Boy through Pennsylvania. So let's get into the video about the Big Boy experience. Where is he going?
Fortunately, there were so many people driving 20 and 35 and 55, I was not able to get ahead of it in time to get the drone shot into the Silver Springs that I wanted to get. Sorry, subscribers, but that's the way it is. We have people who are not rail fans following its locomotive. Okay, now I'm going to try and get ahead of it by getting it through.
sober now.
Oh, geez.
Now this chase was horrible, and it's partly law enforcement's fault because they didn't do proper traffic control. One of our deputies that's running for sheriff here was here in Silver Springs, and he posted a comment. It's like, and I commented in his post saying it'd been nice if there'd been better traffic control. There was so many people that were holding up traffic, driving slow, and there was no traffic control on a lot of intersections. And it's I thought Bakery, and he talks about how Silver Springs was emptied out in a certain amount of time. It's like, dude, it's not the Silver Springs being emptied out. It's the fact that there was traffic backed up for a mile going into Silver Springs, which is true. And there was a deputy sitting in Silver Springs, sitting at the trailer park here in Silver Springs, that could have been directing traffic at Perry Avenue and 19A, but he wasn't. And I don't know what he was doing there, because he wasn't doing anything, and he wasn't near where he could direct traffic. He was just sitting there at the trailer park doing absolutely nothing, sitting in his car. But in Attica, they of course had the problem with the drone, which I mentioned. Then on Spring Street, there was a guy in a Dodge Durango that was driving 20 miles per hour in a 55, and then sat at two stop signs while there was plenty of time for him to go, and he didn't go. And there were people who were coming up to the road that he was a stop sign at, and they would turn right, and there's people are driving slow or stopping in the road. There are people are trying to get in to go out, and he won't move. He's just sitting there with his turn signal on, not moving. There are people backed up behind him. We can't go anywhere. And there was a rail fan ahead of me, and as soon as that guy finally got out of the way after dealing with him for like 20 minutes, we finally managed to get down, and then we got down into Dale, and then there was a local guy that was driving his pickup truck with a trailer and tractor 35 miles per hour down Dale Road, which is 55, except for when you get into Dale, then it's a 45 or 40. And this guy was driving 35 miles per hour the whole way, holding up traffic behind him, didn't give a dang about anything but his own little self. He could have easily pulled off to the side and let the 20 cars behind him go through, and then if he wanted to go back in and drive his piddly little thing, but he didn't. People not knowing how to drive was a big problem in this chase. And it was the people who aren't rail fans who just came out to get photos in one location and didn't go anywhere else that caused a huge problem, because those people, they go like, oh, we got our shot, we'll leave now. And then they're driving down, and then they're just joining this traffic that was intermingled with rail fans and the other people. And then there's people who are in their 90s that are driving extra slow because they're scared to drive. And so they were holding up traffic, and it was just an absolute nightmare. An absolute nightmare. And if I ever get the chance to chase 4014 again, I am not doing that. Because this was horrible. It would have been better if there had been traffic control. Livingston County was pretty good with traffic control. But Wyoming County, absolutely horrible. There was one intersection where they should have had traffic control, and that was US 20A and Black House Road. There was a long line, like 2 miles long, maybe 3 miles long, of traffic on Black House Road. I was in it, and I thought it was being directed, because we'd be like move quite a ways, and then we'd stop, and then we'd move quite a ways, and then we'd stop. But then I got up there, and it was people just running through the stop sign, not stopping at it when they got up there, because nobody directing traffic. And there should have been people there, because it's a major intersection. It's near where the crossing was. The crossing is right down the road. There should have been somebody up there directing traffic, but there wasn't. In Silver Springs, at Perry Avenue and 19A, there was nobody directing traffic. Deputy sitting a few hundred feet from where that was. He wasn't directing traffic. No fire police were directing traffic or anything. Get into Silver Springs, I get that little pathetic video over people's heads, barely can see the locomotive, and I peel out of Silver Springs to get out of there. Unfortunately, a lot of the problem I was dealing with was my mom. She'd get out of the car, and she'd follow me, And then I'd have to, it's like, Mom, go to the car, get in the car. And she's just walking like that when I'm trying to run and get into the car. At Denton Corner, I went down to Denton Corners Road. It's like I thought maybe I can get it at Denton Corners Road. I didn't get it at Denton Corners Road. You can see the video of Denton Corners Road before. And that was another place. I told her to stay in the car. Oh, I want to see it. And she gets out and she follows me. I run down. I get halfway to the crossing. It comes through. I'm recording up like this, trying to make sure I can get it. And then I turn, I'm running back, and I see her like 10 cars down from where our car is. And it's like, I get it back to the car. I ended up having to wait for traffic to go past me. And then I had to pull out and back up towards traffic to pick her up, to get her back in the car and get moving. Then our next stop was Pennycook Road. And that one was the first one where I actually get a decent video of it. And then the rest of the videos I got are pretty decent because, but it was after that it was an absolute nightmare getting up to it. In Pennycook Road, there was the Lawrence County Sheriff's deputy. You can see him standing there in the video, I think. You can see it in the photos at least. And he actually stopped our line of traffic, which was 4 cars, before the crossing, before the locomotive was even coming. I don't know if he heard it blowing at the farm crossing that's at the other end of the bridge, or blowing at people passing, but we didn't hear it with blowing at all. And he stops us, and then it was a couple minutes later the gates went down. But he stopped us there, and we ended up with a decent viewing place where I put my phone on the tripod and put it on the roof of my car to record the video, and then I had my camera below it, which was the only time that I was able to have my camera in both hands and have my phone on the tripod, because the next locations I forgot my tripod. And then we leave there, and then we get down to Springbrook Road. Springbrook Road was an absolute nightmare. And it was, again, because of people who were not thinking when they pulled out of parking spaces. There were people lining both sides of Springbrook Road. And we had people that were turning around, trying to fit between vehicles, turning around in there. There were people that were pulling out. Most of the traffic was going the same direction as the train was. But there were people pulling out into that traffic against people, and people pulling in their mirrors so they could squeeze past each other like this. No, you don't do that. And these people that were going the other way are obviously not following the train. So they should have stayed where they were, but they didn't. They didn't stay where they were, which was the dumbest thing they could possibly have done. And it just followed up traffic considerably. There was a point where our line was stopped because there were people trying to get out of the way of us coming through. And these people that shouldn't even been pulling out. There were people that were cutting across. They were driving up, and then they were cutting across the traffic right in front of people and pulling up on the wrong side of the road, facing traffic. And it's like, oh my gosh. We finally get through there, and then I didn't encounter another problem until Canasrega, and then there were people at Canasrega that backed up traffic for like 5-6 miles up Route 70 after we got through Dalton. Dalton was fine. Lawrence County deputies were directing traffic there. It moved pretty decently. Not as well as it could have. They could have done a better job at directing traffic that was following a train to get them through first. But we get down to Canasrega, and there were people at the yellow light that were just stopping, letting people in the red light go across in front of them and stuff like that. And it was just like, dude, just go. You have the right of way. Which is like, it's like, you have the right of way, just take it. Because you're not doing them any favors. They're not chasing the train. They're not doing anything like that. And then we get to Arkport, and I almost ran out of gas in Arkport. At the gas station Arkport, I had 5 people cut in line for the gas pumps ahead of me that weren't rail fans. And I almost ran out of gas at the Arkport gas station because I was stuck in traffic coming into Arkport. And then I was stuck waiting for get gas. And then I get through Hornell. And I would love to know the name of the person who thought it was a good idea to tear apart half of Hornell the same weekend this train was coming through, because that was the dumbest thing New York State ever did in their life. We get through Hornell, and we're about half an hour behind it at that point. We go through Canisteo, we get across Canisteo, we're doing good, we get through, and then we get down, before we're even at Adrian, we're stuck in traffic. Before we even got to Adrian, we were stuck in traffic. And we get down there, there's somebody that needed an ambulance down there, because Canisteo's ambulance was ahead of us, and then it went flying down the other side of the road to get past everybody. And it was down there with a bunch of cops, state troopers, and Steuben County Sheriff's deputies. And on I think it's 119 that's there, it was almost solid bumper-to-bumper traffic, barely moving all the way down until we got to a place where I actually turned around. There were a bunch of people that were turning around. That was like, okay, we're giving up, we're turning around. And I turned, and we get down there, we're getting there, it's like, we're an hour behind it at this point. And it's like, oh my, we're never going to catch up to it. We're staying in this traffic. And it's like, most of that way I had no service, so I couldn't see any roads on the side roads where they went on Google Maps, because I couldn't see Google Maps. It was all blurry. I couldn't see where I was. I couldn't see the roads on Google Maps. And then I finally get to a point where I have service, and I look at Google Maps, and it's like I pull up the tracker on my phone, and it says it's in Gang Mills. It's like, okay, it's still in Gang Mills. We can get ahead of it if we can go up around. And I type in the directions to go in Gang Mills, and it puts me going up this seasonally only road up the hill, and then through all these other roads in the back way. And I turn around, and as I turn around, I look to my left, and there is people from Paul Stamp's community that have been talking about how they were chasing it. They're in their Mazda right behind me. I see one of them wave at me. I take off. I go up the road, and then I go up the road, and I look in my rearview mirror, and they're behind me. So I go up, and it turns where I turn, and I can't see them. I wait at the turns where I turn to make sure they're catching up to me, to make sure if they're not looking at Google Maps and don't know where they're going, so they can at least follow me. And I make it around, and we get through Corning and Elmira and get ahead of it. And I got ahead of it at Wellsburg, which is the next one you see. And then after Wellsburg, the traffic wasn't too bad, except for one point where it's a fault of DOT, this happened. But there's a hospital between Corning and Elmira. It's Guthrie Corning Hospital. And it is on a road that looks like a main road. It's a 2-lane road with perfect markings, everything like a state highway would be. And you're driving along, and there's the entrance, there's exits and entrances into 86. They pass those, and there's an extra entrance and exit to 86, which didn't make any sense why it was there. And then we come up there, and we come through dead end. There were no signs, dead end, for this road. None. No outlet, no dead end, no nothing until you got to the end of it. Which, by New York State law, at least New York State, but it's not federal law, when a road ends, the dead end is supposed to be at the next major intersection. Which it wasn't. And there were at least 10 rail fans when I got in there that got in there, and then they're driving around the parking lot trying to figure out how to get out of there and how to continue to follow the train. There was nothing saying that there was no outlet or anything. And then there was a road that on Google Maps that showed it went through that would have taken us around to Gang Mills. And I drive up to it, and it says emergency vehicles only, and it's a dirt road. And on the map, on Google Maps, it's paved. So we get in 86, we get down 86, we get down to Wellsburg, got to get in Wellsburg, and then after that we go to Chemung, which Chemung was pretty easy to get it at. I didn't get, as you can see, I got the going away shot. It was pretty much clear on that side. Most people were gathered on the other side, and I got a nice going away shot. I was between a girl on this side and an older guy on that side, and another older guy walked up and recorded it there. And you can hear the girl on her phone. She's video calling a friend of hers and showing her the train as it goes through. And then I had to get gas, and I hoped to get down to Waverly and Sayre. So I get gas, and the gas pump at the Dandy gas station in Chemung, I put the card in, and it doesn't read it, and it won't let go of the card. And it's like I'm wiggling, finally it lets go of the card, and it's like, reinsert card. I reinsert it, and it grabs a hold of it and won't let go of it again. And it just, I ended up having to pay inside because it wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't reset the pump. It just said, please see attendant. And it's like, so I go inside, I get that, and then I go down to Waverly, and unfortunately there was so much traffic, and right when we get to Waverly and Sayre, a horrible rainstorm hits. Pulling into Waverly, it showed that it was just pulling into Waverly, and then about 2 minutes later when I checked it again, it was stopped, location not available. So it already parked. So then we stayed but yeah, this trip was a horrible one. And so anybody who is thinking of chasing it in Pennsylvania, I would advise you not to. Because you're just going to get the same experience I did. I don't know how some of these rail fans got these pictures in multiple locations. It's like there's one rail fan that's posting his pictures all over Facebook. He's posting in the Arcade and Attica group, which I'm not quite sure why he's doing that. That has nothing to do with Arcade and Attica. He was doing something a little illegal. He was flying his drone over wilderness area, which is illegal in New York State, by the way. But he got a shot of it over the swamp by Rattlesnake Hill, which is a wilderness area, and you're not supposed to fly your drone over that. Wildlife protection area. You're not supposed to fly your drone over those in New York State. You can't even get permits to fly over that in New York State. Right down the road from 3 state forest rangers. It's amazing they didn't see him and ticket him for that one. But yeah, if I had been able to launch my drone more, I would have gotten a lot better photos. Because I could have launched it in Wellsburg, except my Road ID would not power on. I had left it on for a while, and I turned it off after a while, but I didn't turn it off soon enough, so it died on me in Wellsburg when I was waiting for it to require GPS signal. So it died on me then, and so I couldn't launch the drone there. But that would have been a good place to launch the drone. I could have flown over the river, and it would have been fine. It wouldn't have been over people. But yeah, you're thinking about chasing in Pennsylvania, just don't. Just don't. Just go to one location, get your shots there, and don't even try to chase it anywhere else, because you're going to have the same problems as you're going to have here, because it's been so publicized. People know exactly where it's going to be, and you're going to get everybody and his brother there, the people who don't care about trains and everything. You're just going to get everything there, and it's just not, you're just going to make your blood pressure go up. So that's my input for this. It's a long video, a long rant, but you need to understand what you need to be prepared for when this event comes to Pennsylvania next month. So that's it for now from CP Silver Springs, milepost 368, and of course, Southern Tier Line. Keep on the trains. Tim out.